follow the path and you'll be fine. Like if you just have that faith and walk down that path, then it makes it easier to be patient. When I lose my patience is when I don't know what I'm doing. And so then I get anxious and start getting erratic and making stupid decisions.
Welcome to the High Voltage Business Builders, a show where we interview people committed to making their next million through passive income using real estate, brokering, e-commerce, and beyond. If you're a passionate business builder yourself, visit voltageb2b.com to get in touch now. All right, welcome to the call, folks. It's High Voltage Business Builders. I'm honored to be here today to have a special opportunity to interview one of my clients. I get to do this every once in a while, which is great. And so I like to make sure I always preface these calls for anybody listening, because some people might wonder, was this staged? Was this incentivized? Was there some other nefarious activity going on to scam you of your life savings? No. So with all disclaimers aside, Bry, welcome to the call. I just wanted to ask the question out loud for anybody who's listening. Were you coerced, forced, held at gunpoint, incentivized, or otherwise made to come on today and talk to me about what you're doing with us?
No, I was
Okay,
not.
very good. All right, so we got that off the table. Checks in the mail. So as we go through this, all I want to do is just give people an opportunity to talk to you and listen to you and have a conversation. I'm going to try to be that person for them today and let you just kind of tell your story as how we came to met and where you are and some of the highs and lows. We leave it all on the table, so don't give us all the glory. Just tell us, some of the real stuff that you're dealing with in a real business model of challenges and opportunities. I know you've had both. And let's just lay it out there. So let's just start with you for a minute. Get the people some intro into who are you and what are you doing? What have you been doing?
Sure. Golly, that's a loaded.
It's a big question.
Let me make sure I only say things.
Do you like long walks on the beach? Are you an existential person?
So I have a wife and 2 children, a third on the way. Live in Lower Alabama, and I launched an insurance agency in 2017 after working for an insurance agency in town for a long time. And after 3 years of doing that, well, let me back up before that. While I worked for the prior company, I launched a sunglasses brand. And so that was kind of my first taste of selling physical goods, private label, all that kind of stuff. We got out of that business for a lot of reasons, and it was, I guess you could say objectively that it was a failure, but I don't really see it that way because I learned so much from it. But we sold it and basically got our money out of it. And now the person who's running it seems to be doing pretty well with it. But when I sold that, I went out on my own in the insurance space. And after 3 years, I sold that agency, and I currently work for the company that I sold to. But I wanted to go ahead and start building my next private venture. So I heard Daniel Espy on a podcast, who was one of y'all's students as well. He had a lot of success. And so I reached out to him, and then I reached out to you and wanted to learn how to do it on Amazon. Because when I was in the sunglasses thing, people kept telling us, you really got to go sell on Amazon. Like, this is a great opportunity. And so I already kind of had that, in the back of my mind as a seed that was planted. So that's kind of how I got to where I am now.
Now, for people who are listening, you had some background in e-commerce, but as you self-admitted, you called it a failure, which that's fine. I mean, that's real language, and I appreciate that. A learning lesson is also what you stated, which is good, because I think obviously you didn't give up or we wouldn't be talking. So you got hooked on the space, right? And just wanted to figure out where to go. But as you got it going in this and started to learn about Amazon, what were some of the initial things you dealt with, positives and negatives, and maybe things you expected to happen that didn't happen, or things that happened better than you expected?
Yeah. Well, and on the failure thing, I just, when I'm talking to other people, I like to say words like that other people might be saying in their mind, because I don't want people to feel like if they think of themselves as a failure, that they're the only ones. And because I didn't really think of it that way entirely, but, objectively, that's probably what some people would consider, just because we didn't achieve our goals. That's all. But, with the Amazon thing, I mean, it's really, it's been fun. I mean, I didn't really think it was possible to launch multiple brands at once. But when I came to you guys, you were like, no, you can launch multiple brands because you're basically taking out 90% of the marketing that's required when you're normally launching a brand, because Amazon already has all these customers and you're trying to get into the flow of keywords and customers that are already looking for things. And you're trying to get ahead of the curve and get out there where there's high demand and not enough supply yet. So it's a very simple concept. I mean, it's hard to implement, but it's a simple concept. And that's been fun. The challenge to that is that it sounds easy and it's not easy to do.
Can you explain what you mean more by that?
Yeah. So the concept is simple, right? Like, find something that's high demand with not enough supply yet, with not enough vendors out there yet, or the vendors that are there aren't providing all of the value that's needed or demanded by the customers. But there's so many. I mean, I think you told me one time there's like 500 million SKUs on Amazon.
So it's like 600 or 700 million. Yeah. Enough.
Yeah. So that's a lot of data to sift through.
Yep.
You could go a whole lifetime and never get there. And then it's not as easy as it sounds to determine which items are high demand and low supply.
It is the number one thing, right? Product research is kind of what we're defining.
Yeah. It's not and then, so for me also, that was a paradigm shift, because in my whole business life, it's been all about sales. It's been all about, you have to find customers. Finding customers was the challenge, not the product really. And now with Amazon, it's not about finding customers really. It's about, customers are there. It's about putting the right offer in front of them. And so that's been a paradigm shift for me as well.
Yeah, it's a little bit of an inverse of this.
I like it.
Well, I'm sure you do as a salesperson, right? Because your biggest objection to leads and qualified people is going out and constantly turning the machine to find them so that you can offer them something good. Whereas now your inverse mindset is, well, they're all there. I just am trying to figure out exactly what to offer them. It's an inverse problem, and a good problem to have, because they're definitely there.
It's fun for me because it's like, you just took away the biggest challenge of my career.
Well, you got new challenges, right? So new challenges are, how do I expand my relationship with that customer into their buying and customer lifetime value? It's a different challenge now for you, right?
Right.
But okay, so yeah, obviously it's not as easy as everybody might say on the internet or the gurus tell you. Just launch a product and you'll make lots of money. We know that in real business is not true. You didn't just launch your book of business and all of a sudden you made an agency that somebody thought was worth something so you could sell it, right? You were in that for years before it happened. So in terms of your steps and stuff and you launching your brands, what's been the results? Like what happened? What was a good and a bad thing? What's some of the stuff you ran as the challenges? Business has challenges. What are some of the challenges you ran over that led to some opportunities?
I would say the biggest thing that I've learned so far is that when data becomes commoditized, it's worth less. And so the data is ubiquitous. Like, there's all these software programs out there, and most of them are looking at the same data. So when people go out and do product research and they're all looking at the same data with the same algorithms telling them this is a good opportunity or a bad opportunity, everyone's going into that space in that way. So to me, you have to go find a different way to find opportunities, and you have to dig deeper than that, because those spaces are going to get filled up quickly. And Sixleaf is a software y'all have. I think did y'all develop that?
We did. It was part of a system, correct? Uh-huh.
Yeah. So that software it has a lot of features that others don't have. But even with that, I mean, the things that y'all have taught us about how to really evaluate opportunities has been big. And it took me a while because I work a full-time job. So it took me a while to get through all of the learning phases. And, and y'all are good about saying, hey, just go ahead and get some samples and launch something. And because you got to learn by trial and error sometimes. That's usually the fastest way. So that's been a little bit of a phase. And then learning kind of the subjective ways of getting the algorithm to feed your product up to the audiences. There's a lot more to that than just what you read in a text. But I would say the biggest success I've had so far came from a product that you offered up in a coaching call. And so I said, what the hell, I'll try it. I don't have a product yet. And so I put it out there and it started selling. And then I started getting some reviews and some positive reviews, and it started gaining more traction. And then I have now since then pivoted into similar products in that niche. And those products are also taking off.
Yeah.
Really well. And It's kind of in the survival medical military niche. So right now, I think it's particularly good because of what's going on in the
Well, and the
Eastern
survival
Europe.
is an evergreen niche. It's definitely a blue sky. But I like what you said. You pivoted. So one of the things, obviously, the product that we talked about that I offered up on that coaching call was part of the series of product research, mind hacks, and training things that are in the training that I was just trying to audibly, get people to follow along with through the process that we did through there. And you took that, which kudos to you, and you found additional products in that niche that have taken off even faster, which is, hey, that's, as a mentor, I think that's amazing. Like, that's exactly what I want you to do. I know you launched the second one recently, as recently as this call is being recorded, which was around 318 or so in March of 2022. What has been the results of that product that you went out and discovered through that research and came back and launched?
That one, I had gained more confidence.
Yeah.
I have other products that I've launched too that have done okay. Like they're not like blowing the doors off, but they're not losing money, And but so I really kind of got a feel for it. I guess there wasn't like I can't just say, and I get it now, like why it's hard to teach it because you have to. There's almost a feeling for it, and that you get from
Experience
looking
is coming in now to tie to the
Yeah.
data. Like data at its face value, as you said, is commoditized.
Yeah.
And then you
To know
take the
what you're looking
experience
at.
and now you start to figure out for yourself, how am I seeing this? And I love that epiphany because you texted me and you're like, why don't you tell everybody to do this? And I'm laughing
Yeah.
to you. And I looked at Reed because he was on a call with me. And I said, how many times have I told Bry to go do this? And all of a sudden he gets it. Like everybody has that aha moment. And I think it's funny.
Yeah.
But it's like, dude,
Yeah.
that's exactly what we've told you. That's exactly, but
Well, that's just like
learning and
marketing.
applying
They
is
say
basically what we're talking about. You actually applied it. And because you applied it
Yeah.
very, very well, thank you to yourself and kudos to you, you've learned how it works for you. You've learned the experience tied to the data. Now you see things, as you said, that are more of a gut understanding, right? You went from tacit to implicit knowledge. And that change is what's going to make you a lot of money on this business. So what ended up happening as you got that product out there?
Yeah, and I'm already almost halfway through the inventory, and it's only been 2 weeks. And I didn't go eat like I didn't go crazy on the inventory, but I wasn't as timid with it as I had been with prior launches where I would get just a little bit of inventory. I went ahead and got 1,000 units of this product, and because I just felt very confident in it, and I was like, well, what the hell? If at this point I already know how to get rid of it if I have to. There was a lot of margin in it, at least based on my competitors' pricing. So I figured worst case scenario, I can coupon it and sell it really cheap and get rid of it if it's not moving fast enough. And so I went ahead and bought 1,000 units. In like day 2 or 3, I think it was like day 2, I sold like 40 units. My best day so far, I sold 100 units in one day.
Wow. How many reviews did you have on it when you went to market?
I have 0 reviews to this day. I still have 0 reviews. When I get reviews.
What's the retail price of that product again?
It's I've upped the price some. It's at like $45 now.
Good. So you're gonna have great margins on that too at the end of the day. So
yes. I'm at about without advertising, I'm at about $16 or $17 per unit.
Yeah, that feels good to have that net profit showing up on each of those. Yeah. And you haven't even got a lot of reviews yet, and you're not really scaling your PPC. So this is a huge product win for you coming, which I'm super excited about. Because here's the thing I want to go back on and emphasize for somebody listening. And it's something that you just said. That again, this is a learned thing as you start to listen and be mentored. You're catching it on and you're owning it yourself. And that was you didn't shift from product one. Number one, you didn't have a grandiose lottery mindset mentality about product number one. You went in the test market, you saw how it went, you knew it sold. It just didn't quite sell as fast as you wanted it to, which is cool. We understand it's testing. But you didn't jump from that product niche to a completely different one and say the whole thing was a failure. You went deeper into that niche, that brand you already went, and found additional products in it. And I think that's obviously a smart move. It's something that we wanted you to do as we coached you, but many people will go off on their own and get lost in the woods, literally trying to go from niche to niche, product to product, and all over the place, too wide. And so people who are listening, what you did right, I just want to call this out because you went into the brand deeper and found additional products in there. And those are the winning products. From there, you now are going to be able to take those into many variations and additional product lines, which I guarantee the steam's coming through your brain already.
My head's about to spin
Yeah,
off.
because
Yeah.
there's so
I
many
mean,
more of those you can do.
there's so many more of those opportunities, and the whole world opens up once you have that happen. It's like, I mean, I would say that the first product's a success. I mean, I still sell it, and it's actually selling faster now at a better ACOS because you guys kept telling me, hey, if it's selling, it's a good product. So stick with it, and the algorithm will reward you over time, which goes back to like a very old, 1,000-year-old adage of take the long view. And, what is it? The tortoise wins at the end. I mean, because the rabbit's out of breath. And so that's I just trusted y'all on that. And it has gotten to become very profitable now. I'm almost at $10 a unit profit now. It was lower than that, which is not y'all's mantra. And so it was not quite within the voltage, slot of what we're looking for.
But you're also in a higher competitive niche, right? With a different amount of sellers with a lot more reviews. So it's going to take you longer to prove yourself in that market than the second product niche. That's one of the things I want to call out just for your own education.
Well, now that product is all over page
See,
one.
now it's going to continue to grow and grow. And there's plenty more variations of that one that you can launch out there to continue to dominate that brand. It's just going to take you longer to dominate the current entrenched brands in that marketplace and for the algo to basically prove that you're the better brand, which in time it will. Continue to raise those prices and continue to do what you're doing, and you will see more and more of that reward. It's just a slower roll. And that's really what happens most of the time in this business model. Just to be clear, your great product, no reviews, selling over 100 a day, that's an amazing win. It is not results typical. I just want to call that out. It is more typical that the first product happens. Why? Because it is a business model that we're running. It's a 30, 60, 90 day, quarter by quarter business model. This is going to continue to ramp. As you find more of those products, they will ramp over time. And it's the tortoise and the hare, right? You're going to see eventually you're going to win the race in those categories as you keep going down that brand. This is where it gets to be the long game, right? 12, 24, and that's long. 12, 24, 36 months is not really a long time. But in business today and in products and e-com, it's a long model, which sounds really strange, but it is.
Yeah, I mean, I'm even seeing though one of them, like I'd say 6 months is the long view on Amazon. It seems like I have a product that I launched in the bedding industry. It started off horrible. I mean, I would have scrapped all these products probably if I wasn't in y'all's group, but like y'all kind of helped anchor me. This thing had like 160% ACOS. Then my conversions went down to like 2% at one point, and I just kept. Reed was like, test new photos and graphics. Look at what your competitors are doing and just keep testing new graphics. And so I kept doing that. And now my conversion rate on that product is 30%, and it's selling. And it's like, it doesn't sell fast. And now I learned more like it's because that's a low keyword, low demand product that I have, but it's selling now. So like if I want to continue to do that product and launch into that brand in that space, I know that I can now, and I have the confidence. I may not because of time, but I know that I can now. Like sometimes it just requires extra effort and attention.
Yeah. It's those little bit of optimizations, those 2 millimeter shifts, as we refer to it in the coaching, that make the biggest difference. We've got a couple people in the group you've probably seen recently who are setting right where you are, and you can probably offer them additional encouragement. They're setting at that same low percentage rate, and we got to make sure they make those little 2 millimeter shifts, or they're going to go and give up when they shouldn't give up because they're literally at that 11th hour of finding the product, finding the right conversion rate. And 30%, by the way, is amazing, right? That's amazing. I know for people who are on here who might be Amazon sellers, they're probably going, how in the heck do I get to 30%? But again, it's tweaking and testing and watching your metrics. You'll see it come if you work the process. And only change one thing at a time. Don't change 100 things. One thing at a time, watch and train. One thing. It is a patience game, which, I mean, you're a patient guy, which is one of the benefits of, I think, of your success, is that you're a little more patient than some people, which is good for you.
I don't think very many people who know me would agree with you on that.
Yeah. Well, if you're not a patient guy, you play one on television.
The discipline in y'all's program has forced patience.
The discipline, how do you mean that? Sorry. What do you mean by that?
I mean, because y'all have a structured program in place, and it's like, hey, follow the path and you'll be fine. Like if you just have that faith and walk down that path, then it makes it easier to be patient. When I lose my patience is when I don't know what I'm doing. And so then I get anxious and start getting erratic and making stupid decisions. But if I feel like I have a good guide, and that's why I was willing to pay good money to be in y'all's program.
Well, good. I was going to ask you if there was any parting words that you might want to leave with anybody, and you just did it. So I'll leave that question. And thank you. I'm honored, and I very much appreciate you coming on and spending some time with me today and talking about what you're doing in business. I'm super excited to see what you do next, Bry, because you're on a rocket, my friend. And again, I'm honored. Thanks for coming on and sharing with us.
Thanks, Neil.
If you like this episode, please share it with people you think will enjoy it as well. Thank you for listening, and be sure to tune in next week for a brand new episode of High Voltage Business Builders.